What is addiction? Or what is it to be addicted? Most people, when they think addiction, they think drugs, they think alcohol, they think sex. But you know what? It goes bigger and it gets way deeper than that. Addiction is just, that word is so broad. The meaning, just everything about it is so big. Here's the definition of addiction from the dictionary, or to be addicted. Physically and mentally dependent on a particular substance and unable to stop taking it without incurring adverse effects. Enthusiastically devoted to a particular thing or activity. An example is, he is addicted to computers. Now, I know in my age, growing up, it wasn't really much about the drugs and alcohol. It was more about the video games. It was about the internet. It was about the TV. And we think that we're just sitting there, oh, I'm just watching a show, or, I'm not doing anybody harm. But you are. You're doing yourself harm. You sit down, you watch TV for 12 hours, you go through a whole marathon, your day just passed you by. Your life is passing you by. And the thing is, we think, oh, I'm just playing a couple hours of Xbox, not a big deal. I've done it. I don't play much anymore, but I used to. So I know what it's like. I've been there. I've gone through a whole entire TV series in a couple of days. I've done stuff like that. And we think that we're not doing anybody harm, but if you put that much dedication and effort into your TV show, you should be putting that much effort into seeking God. And we don't. Some of us are like, well, I have all day. I can read my Bible later. But do you? Think about it. Do you? You don't. Hold on a second. When I see addiction, I think of it like a grain of sand. It starts off as something very small, unimportant. Nobody looks at it. It's a grain of sand. You can't even see it. So small. But that will build over time. And if you feed that addiction, you're throwing another grain of sand in there, and another one, and another one. And before you know it, you got a little hill. And you think, oh, that's not that bad. I'm not too addicted to this. I can't even call it an addiction. I can quit whenever I want. I can go outside. I could put the controller down, or I could get off the computer. But do you? You keep feeding that addiction. And by the time you turn around and you realize it, you got a mountain behind you. You can't climb over that mountain. And you start to soak in that addiction, in that sin, and you start feeling bad about yourself. You get to a certain point where you start thinking, what am I doing with my life? And then instead of turning to God, you start, well, I can do it on my own. I've beat this before. It's not that big of a deal. God has other bigger, importanter things to worry about. And I said importanter. But the thing is, it doesn't matter how small it is. God is there for us. And He's the only one that's going to help us overcome that mountain of addiction. We just have to ask for His help. Here's another one. And see, and another thing people don't realize, once you've become addicted to something, that temptation will always be there. It doesn't go away. And I know a lot of people say, well, Alberto, I thought God heals things. Doesn't He heal addiction? Doesn't He heal people from addiction? And He does. But the thing is, the temptation is still there. The devil is still there. Right. The devil doesn't sleep. Here in, hold on a second. 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8 says, be sober-minded, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. Just think about that for a second. The minute you drop your guard, that's when the devil strikes. And he'll go after you. He'll wait. He'll sit around. You'll read your Bible. You'll start praying. You'll start thinking, you know what? I've overcome it. The addiction is gone. And then you start praying a little less. And you start praying about it a little less. You start praying about other things. But the thing is, the addiction is still there. The sin is still there. God has forgiven you for it, but the devil doesn't forget. And he's waiting for you to drop your guard. He's going to jump on you. He's going to pull you right back in unless you keep praying and unless you keep asking God to help you. Because if you don't ask for God's help, where are you going to be? What are you going to do with your life? It's going to be over. It's a very sad thing if you think about it like that, but it's the truth. And the only way to grow as a person is to seek God. That's the only way we're going to grow. Spiritually, mentally, maybe not physically. We're kind of done at a certain point. But yeah. Yeah, I guess you can grow sideways. Your muscles can get bigger. Mine have gotten bigger, Just saying. I've been working out. Hold on. And got one more. Oh, I already read that one. Okay. But yeah, just remember, the devil doesn't sleep. Addiction usually starts often as something insignificant and can sometimes, most of the time, eventually ruin your life. If it's not moving you closer to God, what is it doing in your life?